Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another tier list, except this time, we're going for a bit of a special one. We're going for a bit of a twist, we're going for a bit of a spin. Tier lists are typically something that you're going to use, right, to rate things on a high to low basis. We're taking a bit of a different approach. We're going to be ranking the worst units for you to pull in the game. And this is going to be a special tier list because it's only going to be dedicated to units released before 3.0. And the reason why I'm only talking about units released before version 3.0 is extremely simple. These. And I'm just going to leave them here in category E. You want to know why? Because E stands, ladies and gentlemen, E stands for excellence. Every single character released after version 3.0 is good. They're all good, and you will benefit from pulling any of them with your account. That's why we're not even going to be judging these guys on this worst units ever tier list. Because if you pull any of these, they're going to be useful in some capacity. And I think that's one of the shining little things, kind of like the honorable mentions that I just want to talk about right before we get on into the video, right? Oh, sorry, I forgot Hiyuki too. Yeah, she's really fucking good as well. It's an all-star studded lineup where you don't really, you can't brick your account. You can't like fuck yourself over by getting any of the guys on here. But is that a similar conversation? Is that something that we can say for units released during the Renaissance era? I don't think so, right? I absolutely do not think that we can have the same exact sort of take for all the units, right? Posted over here. And so, this is kind of like where we're going to be having like the staging ground right here for all of these different characters. And the reason why we're going to be taking this approach is very, very, very simple. The meta has evolved kind of drastically in the middle of 2.x, right? And the end result is that there's a lot of characters in this list over here that have aged particularly well with time. And there are others where you don't really even want to get near them. And there are some where their value dipped a little bit low, but now it's being brought back because of some recent character releases. And so that's where I really want to get into, like the value sort of decision over here. Because guess what, guys? The beginner banner of this game has been updated. And one of the updates to the beginner banner is, of course, the fact that there's a bunch of 2.x characters on there now. Wuthering Waves, that is one of the big updates. And so naturally, this is going to be a bit of an evergreen tier list because that's going to be the beginner banner for a year. Why don't we go ahead and get right on into it? And this is how we're going to be going in sort of like reverse order over here. Or we're not even going to be going in reverse order. We're going to be going with the passage of time. And at the top over here, we're going to be saying, do not pull at all. Pull for specific pairings, teammates, solid pull. And down here, we're going to have must pull. Is that fair? Does that sound good? And basically, this is how the categories are going to be described. Pull this character at your own risk if they're going to be in the top category. You might be able to make them work. You might be able to make them not useless. But basically, unless you're going to put in an extraordinary amount of effort one way or another, either in the character building side, the sequence node side, or the rotation quick swap side, you're just going to have less of a character compared to everybody else on the list. Partner pull is being done under the impression that you really like a certain character and you want that character to perform the best that they can. However, without that other guaranteed partner on your team, the character is just completely kind of useless. And that's where they're going to go. Solid pull means that the unit can hold their own in current endgame content. But it's very likely that in like some part of the future, they're going to get replaced on a team, or they've already sort of been replaced already. And then a must pull, right, is a unit that I can comfortably say there's no real actual must pull units on here, but there are some that are a great addition to your account and won't take away from it by using up your resources. So that's where must pull is going to go, because I can safely say you can actually skip every single unit on here in the 2.x list and you'll be like kind of fine. If you skipped every unit on here, I think you might be in some trouble. But over here, I think you're actually okay. And so that's how the listing is going to go. All right, so first things first. First character up is going to be Carlotta. And Carlotta is going to go into the solid pull category. And the reason for Carlotta being in the solid pull category is extremely simple. She has been a character that's withstood, I think, the test of time for a lot of individuals. In that, if she's well built, she was able to clear content pretty consistently, but required a little bit of extra juice in floors 3 and 4. The reason why she's been able to clear pretty consistently, though, is this, at least in the TOA. It's been the existence of this character, WuWa, who's actually able to apply negative statuses and, well, buffs resonant skill damage pretty heavily. A lot, actually, at S6. And with Carlotta being a resonant skill damage dealer, and this is the most important thing, right? The TOA having some specific buffs over here. Get ready to take a look at this one. What are some of these things like this attribute resistance removed by? Negative statuses or tunability shifting. And this is the reality of Carlotta. Carlotta has teams that can frequently access both tunability shifting and negative statuses. You pair her with WuWa if she's negative statuses, and then you pair her with Linné and Mornier if she needs tunability. Or just Linné, to be honest. You don't even need Mornier on the fucking team, and it's still fine. And that's the reality of Carlotta. She's been a character where you can slot in those units and get rid of that attribute resistance, and then she easily does floor 4. And it's been like that basically since floor 3 and 4 got released to the game. She's been able to clear that a majority of times based off of that. And this is also the other thing. She don't even need her signature because you could just use phasic homogenizer as well. Bro, this thing is 93.5% as good as her sig. This is 100%. This is 93.5. So that's like another bonus that she has as well. And I think at like R3, it starts outperforming your signature. So like 3 copies of like a standard weapon starts outperforming your signature. You get what's going on over here, right? I'm not, however, gonna say that this unit is at like the highest DPS levels ever. And if you're not really able to get rid of that attribute resistance, you might have a lot of struggles clearing 4-4. Specifically, when you just have like a Jeja on your team or something. But because you have so many tools, so many different team compositions, because she's a resonant skill damage dealer, she can work very well in, specifically WuWa and of course with Linné for that tunability, she still clears. And she's still solid, and like I said before, the solid units are still ones that are going to perform in the moment, but they might start falling off a bit soon. And I think that's fair to say for Carlotta, but I think it's also fair to say that as a 2.0 unit, she's 1 month older than Camellia, by the way. She's like 2 months older than Shorekeeper. She's like 3 months older than Zhang Liao. I feel like that's pretty good, right? And I feel like that is a good spot to pull her. Now, we have a situation. Roccia. And some of you might already be wondering, okay, all right, Saint is obviously going to be putting... I might actually put her in partner pull for now. Do you want to know why? Because of this. Are you ready? Let me show you my end state matrix score where I used a team that... That's all S0 R1 characters. And like, this was in round 1 where I don't have a point multiplier. So like, this is what I mean. This was like round 1 and 2. It's a really good end state matrix team. It's a really good end state matrix team. And the thing is that the end state matrix buffs are so good for Roccia and Cantarella that like, it makes the Phrolova team actually insane. It makes the Phrolova team fucking nuts. But that's kind of like it. But this is also the other thing. It's fair to say that there are enough, like, echo skill DPSs and characters that Phrolova having her own setup isn't that bad. For example, let's just say you have Frolova's best supports, Qiuyuan and Lucilla. Well, my Qiuyuan's busy here. My Lucilla, well, let's just say my Lucilla is busy here. Great, what is my Phrolova using then? It's really just that simple, guys. Because I'd rather have my Lucilla with my Hiyuki. I'd rather have my Qiuyuan with my Sigrika. And, well, I need people to go with Phrolova. And oftentimes, these two are some of the These two are what I go with. And yes, I do have both of their weapons. And yes, they do collect dust basically 99% of the time. But it is an objective boon to my account to have these two so that I can play all three of these guys at once. And that's really just the only argument that I'm making over here. By pulling and having those two units on my account, I get to free up really good characters for use in other teams that are really good. And that's kind of like it. Right? That's kind of just like the situation. And when Roccia has like all those built-in buffs, and of course, I use this team in Whimpering Waste all the time, and then either this team on the other side or this team on the other side, that's just how I do all my runs. And so I'm only saying this to you because I made this partner pull category for a reason. It is objective to say that pulling Roccia and Cantarella can be a big net add to your account if it can free up better units for use in better teams. Because guess what? I stick these homeless hobos in, and I get like 3k in WuWa. And as you see, I'm booty tickling End State Matrix, and of course, it's also clearing the TOA. So it's kind of like, you know, it's utilitarian. It's utilitarian for sure. But I can't say it's a complete brick that doesn't do anything, right? And it's not like I have to go in and do anything crazy to make them work. I just need to have the characters. And I am getting some benefit out of it. But now we're getting into the do not pull category with this one. I cannot in good faith recommend anybody pull this character. I'm sorry. Like, I simply cannot in good faith recommend anyone pull Phoebe in 2026 nowadays. In line with that, we're just going to put Zani on here too. There's a reason for this. Basically, this team is like Hiyuki if she sucked ass. This is like Hiyuki and Lucilla if they were dog shit. I think that's the best way to describe Zani and Phoebe. Because effectively, this is the input required. If you try to play like a traditional DPS team with like support, Phoebe, Zani on it, it just doesn't even do enough damage, even with quick swap, to feel like it can like clear. It doesn't really feel like, even with quick swap, this clears very well. The end result is that you feel like you need Rover on the team alongside Phoebe as well and Zani with quick swap to a high degree for it to finally feel playable. But that's a lot of resources, isn't it? Because A, you can't play any version of other rovers while Spectral Rover's taking up all the slots, so E-Rover's fucked. You know, we aren't using him anyways. But Arrow Rover's fucked as well. So that's not very good, right? And this is the thing. You need to quick swap with these characters, and you need to put in a good amount of time into learning them to even make this team work in the first place. And you'll have people telling you, right? Oh, just pull them, pull their weapons, do all of that stuff. That's a lot of expenditures to make when these characters don't work in any other team. And that's truly where the argument from all Zani mains falls apart completely. Because you can't use her in any team other than with Zani. You can't use her in any team other than with Zani. And when you compare that to these two, oh boy, that's a bit of a disaster, isn't it? Hiyuki has like 2 different sub DPSs and 2 different supports she can use. This bitch has like 7 teams. They have 1 team with each other, and that's it. And it requires quick swap. And it's clunky. You see what's going on here, right? And this doesn't even have the benefit of freeing up any other units or freeing up any other characters like at least Roccia does. So do you see why Phoebe and Zani are rated below Roccia? Because this unit allows you to play better teams. These two are an account investment black hole, and that's the difference. They are a literal they are Aleph 1 when it comes to account value. Anything you put into them, it doesn't get shared or distributed anywhere else. That's the best way to kind of like talk about it. They're the Aleph 1 of account value. They just take and they don't give anything back. And that's the reality of it. If these guys worked with other characters, if they enabled other teams, if like their different modes actually had like uses outside of just dealing spectro damage, because guess what? She's a spectro heavy attacker, and this bitch in her DPS form is a spectro heavy attacker. So it's kind of just like, they're kind of doing the same fucking thing anyways, right? So it's like, even her other form is like redundant. And that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. you can't go anywhere with these guys, and that's why I don't recommend anybody pull them. If you pull Roccia, you at least have the chance of, like, freeing up your Phrolova. You pull Cantarella, it's the same situation. But these two? God, no, you're not going anywhere with that. All right, now we got Brant. And this is going to be the Brant situation. He is getting fucked over by a lack of a real DPS. And so he's kind of like in the middle of solid pull and partner pull, where like the stuff he does is good. It's just his teams aren't good because Chang Li sucks ass. That's like literally, this is a situation where you can comfortably say the team would be good. The Lupa, Brant, like Chang Li, but Chang Li just sucks ass. I think that's it. I don't think anyone can really argue with that at this point. She just does not hold up like she used to. And that's kind of just like it, right? So he's kind of like in a weird position where his kid is strong, his kid is good, and these two as a pairing are great together, but there's not like another resident skill DPS, right? There's not really like a situation that feels like strong right now, and you just want like a different third person to be in here, because in most situations, if you are playing Mono Fusion, you'd rather just put in Mornier instead, who's going to give more general amp, and also buff Lupa's damage too. And that's kind of like where the odd part is that Mornier has kind of taken his role as like the fusion healer, but he still has an opportunity to shine because, well, his outro skill is still really fucking good. It's just there's not really a good recipient for it right now. And that's the unfortunate part about him. And so I'd rather kind of just keep him in solid pull for now because he doesn't really have a partner. I guess his partner sort of is Lupa, but then he doesn't even have like a good team in there. So, yeah, he's kind of like, expect him to rise in value and maybe move into a category over here within the future. It's just right now, he needs like another teammate that isn't fucking Chang Li, bro. She sucks ass. Bro, she sucks ass right now, okay? She's just not, like, she had bad damage in 1.0. Okay, Chang Li's damage wasn't good as a DPS in 1.x. It wasn't good. What do you think it's like nowadays? You probably don't need to answer that question, do I? Yeah. All right. Now you got Cantarella. She gonna go into the same exact spot. The same exact spot as before, ladies and gentlemen, as Roccia. For the exact same reasoning that I told you. She gets buff in end state, and of course, lets you free up other characters for use outside of Phrolova's teams. And one of the actual, like, I guess one of the biggest benefits of just Cantarella as a character is the fact that Cantarella has the built-in Echo skill cast in her kit. She has like the 4 of them, which are located across her various abilities, and that is like one of Phrolova's sort of like biggest drivers. And then her outro skill directly buffs Phrolova's like Scarlet Coda and stuff like that. You basically get Phrolova's biggest nukes when you're using Cantarella. So that's something to think about. She also has like coordinated attacks, so like maybe if Jinxi's not dog shit in the future, she can be used because she's also a healer. Some people forget that. So if Jinxi ever gets like a better sub DPS, she might be on the Jinxi team. Because yes, these are coordinated attacks, but it's a little. So she has potential, but it's like it's like it might be a pipe dream. I think that's the best way to describe it. But she has a little bit more room for growth, especially more than these guys. Again. You're beginning to see, like I said before, why certain characters are not being forsaken immediately. However, it's time for us to do some forsaking once again. I think it's time to let him go, boys. I think in the big 2026, it's time to let these two characters go. Because in a similar way, ladies and gentlemen, that I said these two were an account investment black hole, are these two sort of like not an account investment black hole? They kind of are, aren't they? They kind of are. Because the whole argument that we made over here was this, for why we rated Phoebe&Zani so high. Because when you invest in them, they just take it all and they don't give it anywhere else. Cartethyia 100% does that because she's an HP scaler that also needs her signature, and her only teammates are like Ciaccona and then Chisa and Arrow Rover. And guys, Ciaccona is kind of like the account investment black hole. Because I've had the opportunity, and I can safely say that this is her only other use case. It's like as a third slot in Whimpering Waste where you don't need healing, but like she's not even necessary for you to get the good clears in the team. And it's as like a funky arrow like, buffer with Yuno on the team because she heals. Those are the only use, and these are not even, like, top meta teams. They're, like, goofy ones that you fuck around with for fun. So somebody could never play these, and it's not a problem to them. And she's also somewhat signature reliant to have that general buffing role because her 10% arrow res reduction is, like, kind of one of the strongest buffs you could have. Do you see what I'm talking about over here? This ain't a situation where you're freeing up like a Hiyuki to get Lucilla. This ain't a situation where you're freeing up like a Lene to go with Imith, right? This is a situation where, like, your Ciaccona can, like, be played in, like, some suboptimal goofy teams for fun. Because that's the thing. Your current 3.x pulls don't really impact any of these characters at all in any way. Somebody already said Carlotta should be lower for, like, Carlotta should be higher up because of that. Carlotta can take your 3.x units and go clear. Cartethyia can't do that. You can't just, like, be on a 3.x account, have these units, then go pull Cartethyia, and then go clear. You can literally pull Carlotta and then go clear. And that's what this list is trying to reflect. Because she doesn't work outside of her specified archetype, and these guys don't either. And the end result is that investing in them when they're this limited, and there's no outward possibility to build on their teams further, unlike pretty much every other character on the list, is why they're going into the do not pull territory. Because if I were to tell somebody to pull an arrow DPS in 2026, I'd tell them to go pull Qingzhao. Because then they would have characters like Denya and Mornier who are going to have so many other teammates as well. Versus having them perform like some bullshit like this, where they're getting like Ciaccona and then they can't really build a team out of that. And so that's why they're going there. Lack of shareable teammates, need for a signature, HP scaling, so on and so forth. That, and they can't use any modern teammates either. And that's the issue. A lot of investment required, and you can't really do any of it free to play. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at Lupa. And this is what I can comfortably say about Lupa. Right now, she's a partner pull. Because the partner pull for Lupa basically requires you to have Brant or Mornier. That's kind of it. And if you don't have one of those two, she's kind of a useless character. I'm sorry. She's like if you don't have the fusion healer, like, she really does feel just like a subpar unit. And if you do have the fusion healer, it's great. But, like, it really does need to be stated that there is a harsh prerequisite for this unit basically having any value on your account. Can she buff any fusion ever? Yes, but she loses like 70% of her buffs if she doesn't have 3 fusion characters on her team. And that's where having the Mornier or the Brant is really, really, really important. Because it's more so important for her to have Mornier. Because then you get to run teams like this, where you can slot in basically any fusion character into the 3rd slot and you're doing pretty fine. You're doing pretty gravy. You're having a good time. But this is also sort of the other thing. These are Mornier's worst teams. These are Mornier's worst teams. So do you see why I'm not rating Lupa particularly highly? Because she needs Mornier, but Mornier does not even get close to needing her. Because you want to know who Mornier has to support her instead? These two. She's got these two and the DPSs that go in their teams. The Lu Kursens, the Lenes, and of course the Qingzhaos that are going to be coming out. And so Mornier would rather actually, she has better performance in these teams. So it's kind of like Lupa is sort of dragging Mornier down at the moment. But that's why I've been saying, gay boys at Kuro, can you give Brant a proper teammate and give Lupa a proper DPS? Just make a real resonant skill fusion DPS that these characters can work with. Because, like, they're really not supposed to be using Mornier like this. Like, you made her the Toon support. And she has so many Toon teams now. Give them one, bro. Give them one, bro. You get what I mean? You get what's going on here? Is that fair? Because this is truly what it is. If you have a Mornier and not a Lupa, I'm not going to recommend you pull Lupa and play Mono Fusion teams. I'm going to recommend you pull a Denya or a Lene and just play Mornier's Toon teams. That's what I would do in 2026. And this was a lot different during 3.0's release when Mornier came out and she didn't have any Toon teams yet. And Mono Fusion was really one of the only things she had. It's not like that anymore, though. So I don't really recommend most people play her with Lupa nowadays. So that's where she's going to go. Hopefully that one makes a good bit of sense. Now we got Phrolova. There you go. There you go. Your first must-pull unit, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Phrolova. And when we describe a must-pull on this tier list, it's very, very, very simple, right? They're a unit that's never going to take away from your account from you having them, but you don't actually need them to clear any of the content in the game. Because somebody could have easily skipped Phrolova, and then for Whimpering Waste, they just play this team and this team. You will be destroying that game mode probably until the end of time if you have these two teams, and Phrolova is nowhere to be found in here, right? They're nowhere to be found in here. And so kind of like the end result is that she's going to be one of the longest lasting characters from 2.x that you're going to have a lot of results on. And you probably should pull her if you don't have her yet, but she's not mandatory. But she's the closest that we're going to be getting over here. Because yes, she clears TOA, she clears end state, she has a wide variety of teammates, she uses, and I think this is one of the best parts about her, she uses some of the worst units on the roster very well. And in a lot of ways, she can lessen your buyer's remorse. She can make you feel less bad about pulling this character. She can make you feel less bad about pulling this character. Because you can just use the same copium method I did. Well, if Phrolova's gonna be busy hanging out with a bunch of fucking bums over here, like these fucking bums, then I'm free. Hey, yo, then these guys get to hang out with the cool kids. And that's really like it, right? She makes your past mistakes less annoying. Bro, if you could make your IRL past mistakes like less, like if you could delete those intrusive thoughts, you probably would too. Bro, she's kind of like a mental health therapist in game, actually. Think about it that way. She can literally take your sunk cost and make it not as bad. That's kind of wild, right? That's kind of wild. The ultimate copium character, because she actually makes your copium real. And it's not cope anymore because it's real. So that's where we'll put her. Very, very, very strong character. Very good in AoE content. Lots of CC, lots of stagnation, animation canceling tech and stuff like that as well. And one of the most unique playstyles in the game. So it's like gameplay-wise, she's also like pretty cinematic as well. There's not a lot to like lose out on from getting her. That's also why she had one of the most popular reruns in the game. Her initial banner actually did not do that well, but her reruns have been spectacular. Let's just say that. And now we got Augusta. And this is what I'll say about Augusta. She might be in the must pull category. She might be in solid pull. And this is what I'll say. Depending on Jing Ran, I think she goes into the solid pull to maybe the must pull category. Must pull if Jing Ran and Iuno are very good. Must pull if Jing Ran and Iuno are very good. You wanna know why? Because Iuno is Augusta's best in slot. And so we'll kind of just do both of these guys together. They're tentative based off of Jing Ran's power. That's it. It's because of this. He's also a heavy attacker that generates his own shields on attack, and that's going to make him work perfectly with Iuno, who's going to be able to provide a massive 90% damage amplification to him, just like she does for Augusta. And the reasoning over here is very simple. These two still clear all the content in the game. Very, very, very well. They clear all the content in the game. Yes, they're not like the best overall team, but if Iuno suddenly becomes a best in slot on Jing Ran's team, and that's one of the best in the game, well, then now by pulling Augusta and Iuno, you now have two teams that are easily clearing content. When Iuno doesn't really have any other team as a support that clears content. And then Iuno herself can also be a DPS. So in some ways, like, that combo of 3 units, Jing Ran, Augusta, and Iuno, could lead to 3 different DPS teams. With Iuno as one, obviously, right? And so the end result is this. If Jing Ran is really, really, really good because they're all linked together, I'm going to put all 2 of them in this category. But this has a giant asterisk, and it's based off of Jing Ran's performance. And that's pretty much it. Because you're looking for the best units to pull right now. And if Jing Ran's actually overpowered and broken and really strong, then yes, I think Iuno's going to be a fantastic fucking unit to pull, because then you'll have his best in slot teammate, and then Augusta's going to be great because you'll have her best in slot teammate. And it's just that simple. Right, we get that, we good? Cool. All right, now we got Galbrena. Galbrena's in a weird situation where all of her teammates have somebody that they'd rather use. So I think she's just gonna go into the solid pull category with Carlotta. And the definition of solid pull, again, is just this. They clear right now. They might not clear in the future. You can just go for them if you want, but, like, don't be surprised if they're not going to be that good in a couple of days. Or in a couple of patches. Because this is the thing. Any team Galbrena's on, you can just be like, oh, would you rather put in Imith or Sagrika? And the answer is yes. For every team this Galbrena unit is on, would you rather put in one of these two? And if the answer is yes, then that's why she's going in solid pull. But not really anywhere above or close to that. Because if you have Qiuyuan on the team, she would rather prefer that. If Mono Fusion, she'd rather prefer that. I guess this is the only reasonable team Galbrena has that, like, doesn't step on any other teammates' toes. This is my personal take. If Galbrena was just a resident skill damage dealer, this game would be so much better. Like, if she just wasn't this retarded blend of, like, echo and, like, heavy attack damage, and she just dealt resonant skill damage, I think we would have been, like, fine. But, like, because she's, like, this weird, like, prototypical hybrid fucking mutant from, like, the fucking Professor X, bro, there's something wrong with her fucking damage typing and portfolio. Like, if she just had a way to convert all her damage to resonant skill, bro, just do it. And just, like, bro, just make her a resonant skill damage dealer, give this guy a DPS, and then give her a best-in-slot team and just move the fuck on. Like, she exists in, like, limbo, and it pisses me off. Because what is she supposed to do if her damage type is split? She doesn't want a dedicated heavy, and she doesn't want a dedicated echo skill, and then she's not even the best DPS for Mono Fusion. So, like, what's the fucking point? Do you get what I mean? She kind of, like, pisses me off because of her existence. Her existence kind of pisses me off because it feels like there was, like, an idea and, like, a good theme there, but, like, split scaling actually ruined her. And like, this is also probably why, like, this, just get ready. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. Like, she might just, if you don't want to stare at, like, a fucking penis all day when you play the character, then, yeah, she's a do not pull, because this is all you're gonna see while you're playing. It's just a fucking dick on her head. Sorry, I had to mention that another time. So, like, yeah, she getting promoted. All right. Again, with that, you're telling me that I'm wrong. Like, even the angle, no, that doesn't help at all, actually. That makes it worse. I've been saying this since she got released, by the way. I've been saying this since day 0, actually. Now, let's go ahead and put Qiuyuan. Yeah, okay. This is the thing. Qiuyuan is simply a must-pull for a specific reason. His outro skill and, like, his kit is just very good for echo skills. And you know by the description of his kit and what it says, it's just his buffs are too general. 30% echo skill damage bonus, it's just that's just there. And then he also has, like, just crit damage to everybody on the team, and then 50% echo skill damage amp. His kit is simply too, like, general and, like, bro, he even gives, like, the fucking like a fucking echo skill damage buff over here, and then, like, his weapon also gives, like, 20% as well. Like, his weapon gives 20. You see what's going on? He's just he looks timeless. He looks like he's going to be good forever. And I think that's just the reality of it. He buffs all echo skill damage, all echo skill damage dealers pretty equally. He has 4 echo skill casts. His buffs are very strong as well for, like, a 2.x character, and he's easily comparable in strength to units like Lene and Denya. I think he could, in some situations, is even stronger than them, buff-wise. So he also keeps up pace with all the 3.x characters while being specialized. And yes, he has some issues with his interruption, but people just work through it because his kit's really strong. And his only weakness, no more echo skill characters? That probably is not going to happen because, well, if they release no echo skill characters after giving Lucilla an echo mode, that would be hilarious. I'm just saying, if they had no echo skill characters after giving this character an echo mode, that would be nuts. Because she was released in 3.4, and so, yeah, I think that alone prevents that from being a possibility. Right? I think that's very fair. So yeah, even like that guarantee, or I would hope it's a guarantee that there's going to be more units in the future. I think this would be helpful, right? And I think anyone can pretty much agree, based off his performance in his best teams, the fact that he is tier 0 with Sagrika and they destroy all the content in the game is enough for this guy to be in the must pull, okay? Like, these two together are fucking criminal. Like, these two are probably one of, like, the most recommended duos I can tell you to pull in the game. Now it's time for us to get to Chisa. And this is where I might rustle a couple of Jimmies. This is where I'm going to rustle a couple of Jimmies. Are you ready for this? Following Soy Soy's release, she's actually going into partner pull. Because, realistically, the only team you're pulling her for after Soy Soy's release is Denya Fusion Burst. Sorry, after Soy Soy got released, that's the only team right now you're pulling it for. Because Soy Soy is covering your Yang Yang team and your Hiyuki team, and so realistically, Arrow Rover can cover the Cartethyia team, and so the only other negative status team that Chisa actually can be used on, especially in End State Matrix, right? This is the only way to play all the negative status teams in End State Matrix, by the way. There's only one. Like, this is what this is the only method you can do. Assuming Chisa doesn't have her 2 uses, right? And she only has 1 because it's only in this phase. She goes with Denya, then Soy Soy goes for Hiyuki and Yang Yang, and then Arrow Rover goes with Cartethyia. And that's the situation, guys. That's kind of like the future, because Denya is not really playable without her. However, every other negative status team has a different support they can use, and they're doing just fine with them. And so truly, in my opinion, she only feels necessary on one team, because Denya without her is kind of a fucking disaster, right? But what about Yang Yang Soy Soy without Chisa? It's fine. What about Hiyuki without Chisa? It's fine. What about Cart without Chisa? It's fine because you have Arrow Rover. But Denya without Chisa? Not really fine, is it? And so the partner tag over here isn't necessarily being done as like a mark against her. It's simply due to the fact that her design in End State Matrix is a bit unfortunate. And guys, this is the main reason why I'm rating her in partner tag. Because if she only has 1 Vigor, how are you going to use her with Denya and Yang Yang Zhuangling? Just wondering, how are you going to use her with both? How do you play your Fusion Burst team and then also Yang Yang Zhuangling with Chisa at the same time if you only have 1 Vigor? That's a question you guys don't want to ask yourselves. But I am, and so that's why I'm putting her there. And so until you answer that question with something that makes sense, how about you stop complaining about where I put her? Okay? How about you answer my question first, and then you can start complaining about where I put her. We good? Because that's a tier list right now, ladies and gentlemen. But there isn't just one. No, retard, there is, because next phase, there's only going to be 1. So yes, okay, guys. Are there any more people that can't read? Are there any more people that can't read and also need to be informed about how to fucking read? Does anyone else need help reading? Next patch, she's not gonna have this. Next patch, she's back down to 1 use, so you can only use her with 1 team. And so if you can only use her with 1 team, you can't use her on 2 teams. Imus should stay on Toon Break team. Okay, great. Then I just won't play Chisa then. Okay, wait, were we having a discussion about something, or were we just throwing out random goalpost switches and now nothing makes sense anymore? Because like that's what you did, and so I was like, okay, I'll just change the subject too. Because we were talking about Chisa's End State Matrix uses, and now you're saying, let's just not use Chisa. What a brilliant solution! Let's just not play her! Shut the fuck up, okay? Like, oh my god, bro. Anyways. Wow! What did I think of that one? So now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our official 2.x pull value, or really anti-pull value tier list. And the goal was natural, and the goal was simple, but I think we answered the question pretty well. In 2026, August, after the meta shifts from 3.x have passed by, after everything that's occurred, the most recent character releases, I think this is genuinely a very comfortable spot that I would place the pull value of all of these characters. Because yes, some of them are going to be way more expensive to get baseline results, and the expectation over here is going to be this, that you have some of the 3.x units. Because if you're playing Wuthering Waves, watching this video in 2026, you likely do have 3.x units, because keeping up with the game is probably the only way you're watching my shit. You're likely playing it too. And so we're going at this from the approach of somebody who maybe has some units to catch up on, and you're thinking about who the best picks might be. And the reality is, you might own some of these characters already. And if you're an owner of Zani, you're an owner of Cartethyia, you're an owner of Chisa or Ciaccona or whatever, and you're upset by this tier list, just ask yourself this question. If these units in the top, if these 4 units over here were refunded, just you got all of the pull value back, and you had a decision now of who you're going to pull with all of the other options that are out there, like the Qing Zhaos, the Sigrikas, the Lukes, the Imus, all of that, would you pull these 4 again? If you had the opportunity to reallocate them freely in any way that you want, would you pull them again, or would you dedicate them to Qing Zhao? Would you dedicate them to Sigrika? Would you dedicate them to Qiuyuan? And if the answer is yes, then that's why this tier list is here. Because some units have aged a lot better than others. And the reality over here is that investments you make in characters, they can get better or worse over time. And for the units at the top, I think a lot can safely say their investment has not held up compared to other characters. The investments made over here have not really held up compared to some of the ones down here. And I think most can agree with that take. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.